Okay, so I've prepared a little presentation because unfortunately I cannot be there today, which I will post in the chat, and then you can watch it beforehand. So my hot take is, after reading Genesis, that the surrealist project, sort of this art movement at the beginning of the 20th century, and the Bible project, especially Genesis, are basically the same thing. The surrealist project was sort of founded on the assumption that the rational mind is very limiting and that true creativity and true sort of knowledge could only emerge from the unconscious mind. And surrealists tried to sort of explore the irrational and subconscious aspects of the mind, and they drew especially on dreams. And they believed that, for example, art then had the power to transform society, blah, 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 challenging conventional thinking and opening up new ways of understanding the world. So the unconscious is where the interesting stuff happens, and you sort of access this through dreams. And the goal is to access deeper truths through creativity and unconscious exploration. In the Bible project, especially Genesis, sort of provides a framework for understanding the human condition, sin. I mean, we've all read it now. And it's also sort of founded on the assumption that people are pretty stupid often, and that God is not stupid at all because he knows everything. And one way of accessing God is to dream, as we will see, because people dream a lot, and then God tells them a lot of things. So the goal is to justify why we should believe in God, and it's very powerful and so on. But I think pretty much it's an analogy. It's pretty much the same thing. So we continue with the very beginning. So on the right and at the bottom we have two surrealist painters. On the right, Joan Miro is imagining the birth of the world. He's dreaming up the birth of the world. Then Dali is dreaming how time sort of works. And if you think that Raphael really saw what he painted there, then I think you're mistaken, because probably Raphael dreamt that as well. No other way of accessing God, because this looks pretty like very wild to me, this painting. Following another analogy or another commonality is that both movements have a tower, which is red. So the first one, the Tower of Babel, we have read about it, and it's most likely red because of the brick. But if you imagine the tower in the evening light, the tower that Bruegel painted there, if you imagine it in the evening light, then it would be even more red. Let that sink in for a bit, and then you can look at the other red tower. He dreamt, and he painted a red tower. So this is pretty interesting. Both movements feature a tower. And now I just want to list some people having dreams in the Bible. So Jacob, for example, here has a dream and sees a ladder reaching up to heaven with angels ascending and descending on it. And in this dream, God appears and promises to bless Jacob and his descendants, which is a very curious case. So on the left, you have Raphael painting the ladder, and Jacob dreaming. And then on the right, you have a surrealist painter, Marc Chagall, who, I don't know, this seems very plausible to me, that Chagall dreamt of Jacob dreaming and then painted it, because otherwise he wouldn't have painted it, because he's a surrealist painter, and surrealist painters cannot really paint without dreaming. So this is interesting, I think. We go on further. Joseph is also dreaming quite a bit, as we have seen in what we've read. So he has a dream in which God tells him that he will be very successful, and that he will be patriarch, basically. So, and he's telling this to his friends and brothers and so on. And we have two, sort of on the left, you have surrealist interpretation, which is not really that surrealist. I think it's, yeah. And on the right, you have Raphael painting the same thing, trying to, you see little bubbles, paints little dreams and bubbles. So, and then what do you do when people won't stop talking about their dreams? Joseph is sold by his brothers because he sort of, he got on their nerves, I think. But Joseph's, oops. Notes. There we go. But Joseph, he's very clever, so he turns his misfortune into his fortune, basically, because he likes dreams so much that he interprets the pharaoh's dreams. So he ends up, he's being sold, I think, to the pharaoh, and then the pharaoh has two dreams, and then Joseph says, "Hey, I'm very knowledgeable about dreams." So in the first dream, the pharaoh sees 7 fat cows being eaten by thin cows, and in the second dream, he sees like something with 7 and something with wheat and so on. And it's all going pretty badly. Very, very significant dream. And Joseph interprets this dream and tells the pharaoh that a great famine is coming, which then the pharaoh is so grateful for him that Joseph becomes very powerful very quickly. So this is very cool. If you're Joseph, then this is cool. But there are other dreams in the Bible. God speaks to Jacob, for example, telling him to go to Egypt. God appears to Abraham in a vision God appears to Abram in a vision or in a dream and tells Abram to call himself Abraham afterwards. So this is also interesting. So God changes the names through dreams, and the people follow up on them. This is, I think, even more interesting. But then surrealist dream 2. So this is another, it's pretty much the same thing. Salvador Dali is dreaming. René Magritte is dreaming. Max Ernst, he says he has been dreaming and painting. Joan Miro is dreaming. Paul Klee is dreaming. And then Giorgio de Chirico has been dreaming too. But surrealists not only paint, they also write. Wikipedia says that because surrealist writers seldom if ever appear to organize their thoughts and the images they present, some people find much of their work difficult to parse. So, it seems sort of obvious that surrealist writing would be very difficult to understand and to access, but pretty much the same holds for the Bible. So people on the internet find the Bible really confusing as well. One person is asking, the Bible is really confusing to me, most especially the Genesis story. Should I just pretend like I understood? So it's a difficult situation. Then Elaine Vandert, who is an avid Bible reader, is asking, why is the Bible so confusing and why does it scare me? Again, pretty much the same as surrealist writing. Some surrealist paintings and writings are very scary. And then Christopher Cudworth, who has written 2 books on Christian theology, asks if God wanted us to follow his word and why did he make it so confusing to understand the Bible. These people are struggling. And then we come to the end, which is where I want to emphasize that both projects also have in common that they have a very questionable track record. So in terms of their effect on human civilization, they're almost indistinguishable also. So for example, I don't really like surrealist dream art. And in terms of the Bible, there have been also very dire consequences with colonialism, imperialism, persecution, violence, patriarchy, a lot of bloodshed, and so on. And I just want to keep it with Goya, who on the right says that the sleep of reason produces monsters. You see these monsters, people are dreaming, sleeping, a lot of monsters. So he sort of foresaw the problems of both these projects. And that's it. Thank you very much. And enjoy the Bible study.